The real reason Optimus Prime became a life-taker is hiding in one deleted scene the studio refused to show you. What he discovered about the humans after the first movie affected his mind forever. You need to stick around until the end to learn the secret betrayal that turned him into a monster. Before anybody can really understand why Optimus Prime ends up a walking OSHA violation by the later movies, we need to reverse the tape all the way back to the very beginning of the Bayverse. I'm not talking about the reboot or the soft reboot or whatever half reboot they tried later. I mean the OG 2007 movie where Shia LaBeouf is sprinting around suburbia like he owes the universe late homework. In this first film, Optimus Prime is practically a galactic monk. Calm, noble, the type of leader who gives speeches so inspirational they could fix a bad GPA. When Bumblebee gets captured, Optimus has this moment of quiet concern like, "They really took my boy? All right, stay calm, breathe." Meanwhile, his team is hyping him up like assistant coaches at halftime, telling him to keep the group running. And his strategy for stopping Megatron from getting the Allspark is literally self-sacrifice. Not a trick, not a trap, just if I remove myself from the equation, he can't get the cube. That's the level of selfless Boy Scout energy the man is on. Sam, of course, does the exact opposite of what Optimus tells him to do. Prime says, "End me if you must to protect the Allspark." And Sam just looks him dead in the face and decides, "Nope, I'm doing my own thing." You can practically hear a vein pop inside Prime's metal forehead. But even then, Prime keeps it cool. No tantrum, no meltdown. Just fine. Whatever. Let's keep it moving. Even in combat, he's reserved. He fights Bone Crusher like he's doing controlled demolition work. Precise, efficient, no excessive flair, no dramatic monologue about freedom. He's the most predictable, stable version of himself. Transformers 1 Prime is like the dude at work who keeps the team grounded and never raises his voice, even when surrounded by chaos. Then Transformers 2 comes along and takes that calm, collected version of Prime and absolutely launches him off a cliff. Prime has two core triggers at this point. He hates people ganging up on him, and he hates when someone ignores an instruction he gave 2 minutes earlier. Transformers 2 violates both. It starts off with a continuation of the previous noble leader energy, but the moment they capture that Decepticon who croaks out, "The fallen shall rise again," everything spirals. They realize Sam accidentally absorbed a bunch of ancient cybernetic knowledge from that splinter of the Allspark, so Prime tries to warn him. He tells Sam, very clearly, that the Decepticons are not done, that the shards are still dangerous, and that they need to secure everything before trouble returns. And Sam, distracted by robot girlfriends, college stress, and whatever high-speed mechanical nonsense keeps happening around him, basically responds, "Yeah, no, I'm done with that life. I'm retired." Best of luck, though. Right there, Prime's second pet peeve gets trampled. He tries to explain that not listening means the Decepticons will be at Sam's doorstep the moment the sun sets. Sam ignores him. Then shocker, the Decepticons show up like the world's most radical UPS delivery crew. And Sam gets jumped instantly. Prime has to show up, deal with the mess, and in doing so gets thrown into his most hated situation. A 3-on-1 beatdown that he didn't ask for, didn't deserve, and specifically tried to prevent. The man gets shredded so badly, he straight up dies in front of his entire fandom. It's like watching your best player warn the team not to rush a squad in Fortnite. Then the team runs in anyway, gets wiped, and now your MVP has to fix it alone and ends up taking the bullet for all their bad choices. Of course, Prime is irritated. Then he gets resurrected. No slow emotional build-up, no soaring Linkin Park crescendo, no triumphant "I have returned" speech. He wakes up with the energy of someone whose alarm clock didn't go off and they're late for work. He instantly scans the battlefield like, "Right, who do I have to eliminate first?" When Megatron and the Fallen team up on him, he outright snaps. Years of patience crack at once. He destroys Megatron and then gives the Fallen that spine-chilling execution that people forget is genuinely intense. Ripping off a face? Punching through a chest? Crushing a spark between his hands? If these characters were human, instead of metallic puzzle pieces, that scene would have gotten the movie an rating. That brutality is exactly why Megatron runs for his life afterward. and spends every future interaction with Prime trying to de-escalate before Optimus even raises a finger. By Transformers 3: Dark of the Moon, Optimus's patience is not just thin, it is biodegradable. 4 consecutive betrayals break the last thread of goodwill he has left. First, Shockwave, one of the Decepticons' most terrifying generals, shows up on Earth like he booked an Airbnb. Then Prime learns that humans have been hiding alien technology and information from him for decades, including spacecraft holding dormant Autobots. They wake up Sentinel, a figure Prime respects deeply, maybe even idolizes, and within minutes Sentinel blasts Ironhide into scrap and defects. Then, the US government decides to exile the Autobots entirely, essentially telling them, "Thanks for saving us multiple times. Now get off the planet." All of this happens after Prime warned them in the previous movie that if they exiled the Autobots, the Decepticons would colonize Earth instead. Nobody listens. They shove him out. And immediately, Earth becomes a demolition site. Prime returns, flying in with the fury of a parent who told their kids not to throw a party and then came home to find the entire house on fire. When he lands in Chicago, every grunt and breath he makes sounds like pure irritation. Not battle hype, not war cries, but "I told all of you idiots exactly what was going to happen" energy. Megatron, meanwhile, is literally hiding in an alley, dusty, depressed, and praying Optimus doesn't find him. Then Rosie Huntington Whiteley pulls up and manipulates him into stepping out of the shadows, and Megatron reluctantly goes to save Prime, hoping this earns him some mercy. He puts his weapon down. He actually tries to talk things out, and Prime instantly unalived him. No hesitation, no tragic speech. Movie ends abruptly as if Prime said, "Cut the feed! I'm over this entire planet." Transformers 4 keeps piling onto his frustration. The Autobots are labeled bad people despite saving humanity repeatedly. Humans hunt them down for spare parts. They nearly unalived a civilian for breathing the wrong way. Prime bursts out of hiding, firing like every injustice he's endured is flowing straight through his exhaust pipes. Then he watches a recording of Ratchet being unalived, and something inside him snaps at a molecular level. He storms the facility where they unalived Ratchet. This is not diplomatic Prime. This is someone who's been wronged for years and is finally done being polite. Then once again, he's surrounded by multiple enemies at once, his most despised situation, but this time he doesn't try to preserve life or lecture anybody about freedom. He unalived 2 out of 3 threats, like he's checking names off a list, and would have finished the set if Galvatron hadn't seen Prime riding a fire-breathing robotic dinosaur and immediately fled the scene. By Transformers 5, the storyline is a blender of half-built plot ideas, but Prime's anger has nowhere left to go except upward. He's gone past being mad at humans, past being mad at governments. Now he's mad at the cosmic architects who created his species. He gets manipulated and brainwashed, but honestly, his rage was probably strong enough to turn him villainous without help. Meanwhile, Megatron is trying so hard to avoid conflict that he's practically offering the humans customer service smiles. He knows Prime will unalive him if he makes even one incorrect vowel sound. Megatron behaves, follows the rules, doesn't escalate anything, and Prime still folds him at the end. Megatron is begging for his life, reminding Prime that they were brothers once, and Prime basically responds with a metaphorical steel-toe boot to the jaw. It's poetic in a deranged, tragic way. The franchise starts with Prime as a noble leader, and ends with him as a traumatized war veteran who warned everyone for years, was ignored every time, and finally decided he's tired of playing hero for people who never listened. So there you have it, the tragic downfall of Bayverse Optimus Prime. Now I want to hear your take. Tell me which moment you think broke him for good. Debate if his final life-taking was justified or too far. Share this with a fellow Transformers fan, and make sure you follow for more content that exposes hidden movie lore.